So this is Venus the rat, my daughter's rat. So I just had him on the computer, so we're just going to use him because it will be simple. So I've been asked to do a video on saving by a couple different people. So here we go. We are going to do this image on saving, and we're also going to add actions because actions is something I use when I'm saving an image. Is sort of a time-saving feature. It makes a lot of repetitive tasks much simpler. So there's sort of there is a specific order and kind of the way I do this. And this is just a basic version, right? I mean, sometimes I get into some really complicated things like high frequency sharpening, which we're not going to get into, but we're just going to do a simple version of this. So I'm working here, as we can see, in a 16-bit mode, and I've got multiple layers. And the first thing that I need to do when saving, and I'm just going to go through the process first, and then I'm going to make the action after this. So the first thing I need to do is sort of flatten this image. We're going to flatten all these layers because we don't need these anymore. So to do that, it's very simple. We're going to come up here to layer and hit flatten image, and it's going to say, do you want to discard the hidden layers? And yes, that's okay. So now you can see right here we have one layer. The next thing I'm going to do is change from 16-bit mode to 8-bit, and the reason is nothing really uses 16-bit, and you can't stick anything on the web that's 16-bit. Most places don't print in 16-bit. So we're going to convert this. So we're going to go to image mode 8-bit. So it's beneficial, obviously, to tone in 16-bit because you have all this data information, and as you adjust it, it doesn't move as much or alter it as much. If you were to do the same adjustments in 8-bit, it would alter your digital information more. Essentially, you would get more noise and more issues. But definitely you want to tone in 16-bit. Alright, so we've now changed them to 8-bit. So the next thing you need to do is size your image. So where is this going to go? So there's two main things. One is print, and one is going to be for the web. And so there's a couple different things you need to know. When you save for print, and I'll just go into this, we're going to go to image size. You have width, height, and resolution. So let me switch this over to inches. So when you print, you have to size your image. So like, let's say you're going to send this to a printer, they need to know what size you want it. So I'm going to give this a width just 10 because it's simple, and it's automatically going to figure out my height. All right. So now when this goes to print, this will be sized at 10 inches. So when it comes out as a print, it will be 10 inches. All right. The height will be 6.667. The resolution is kind of your image quality, and it's done in pixels per inch. So this is saying there's going to be 300 pixels per inch. All right. In contrast, most stuff on the web is done or was known to be at 72. So if this was for the web, this would be 72 pixels per inch, which is a much lower quality. If you were to print this, you would see kind of your pixels in all kinds of weird things happening. So for most places that you print at, you're going to print at 300. You can check with the place. Some do 240, some do 260. Modern Postcard does 355. So it's a number that you need to find out what your printer, or if you're printing at home, what you need to set it to. But the basic number that usually is used is 300 pixels per inch. All right. And so that's going to give us an image size. All right. So it's saying it was 58 megs and now it's going to be 17. So if I hit this, you will see my image get smaller. All right. So now this image is sized to be print 10 inches by 6.667 at 300 pixels per inch. The next thing I need to do is actually sharpen my image. Now, there's all kinds of ways to sharpen. So unfortunately, it's kind of a weird process. You go to filter, sharpen, but then you can either use unsharp mask or smart sharpen. So unsharp mask for printing, my base setting is 51.3. All right. So this is the amount, this is the radius, and this is the threshold. I'm not going to get into what threshold means. If you want, you can look it up. But this is just a base setting what I use for sharpening images to go to print. You can change that. It doesn't have to be this. You need to find out what you like. All right. So I would hit OK. I'm going to hit cancel for right now though. Otherwise, you can come up here and go to sharpen and use smart sharpen. Smart sharpen, I actually use a bit more. So I might use 65-70 on smart sharpen. Reduce noise, radius. It has a whole bunch of different functions. Truthfully, I don't actually use smart sharpen. I use a different sharpening method. But this is something you need to play around with and get settings that you like. So for right now, we're just going to say, okay, we like this. I'll set mine at, let's see, 50. We'll go up a little bit. It's very touchy. All right, that looks good. And I'll hit OK. And so what sharpening is doing is really just kind of putting sort of a highlight and a shadow on each side to make these edges sharper and more defined. So if I zoom in, that's sharpened, unsharp, sharpened, unsharp. So if you look in the fur, you can see that kind of making it really pop out. It's very difficult to say. You don't want to over sharpen an image because it will look horrible. And notice that we're at 66.7%. So that's at 100%. So at 100% is really where you want to be if you want to see what it's going to look like when you sharpen, because you won't get the true effect unless you're at 100%. So that's sharpened, and that actually looks pretty good. So we're going to say good. So then the next thing to do for a print image is to save it. All right. So we're going to go up here to File, and I'm going to hit Save As because I just don't want to save. And we'll just put this right back into the rat folder. All right. So our options are many. So if we come down here, we have Photoshop, so we can save it as a PSD file. So for most print, I'm going to be saving either as a TIFF or a JPEG. So right here we have a TIFF, and here we have a JPEG. So for this instance, we're going to use TIFF because I'm going to use JPEG for web. So then I'll be able to talk about and explain the web stuff. Sorry about the siren in the background. Ambulance is going by. So I'm going to pick TIFF. A TIFF file is what it does. It saves all digital information in your file. So every single pixel that's in this image, it's going to save it. The downfall of that is you're going to have much, much, much larger file sizes. So I'm going to hit TIFF. I'm going to name this. So I'm going to name this Venus, since that's his name. I'm going to put 10x or by 6.667. All right. So this is telling me that I saved this image at 10 by 667. So if I ever go back, I know exactly what size it is. And then TIFF to me means it's a print ready file. I was just saving this, I just toned it, but I didn't size it, I would actually save this as a PSD. But we're going to save this as a TIFF, so we're good to go. And we're going to hit save. And then you want none. Just leave your basic, and then you can pick whether you're on a Mac or an IBM. And I'm going to hit OK. And that's it. So we've saved this image to go to print. Okay? So you can see there's a lot of steps. So we can automate that by using an action. All right? Which makes it much, much, much faster. So let me find my history. I have it over here on a different computer. So let's see. We're going to just go back up to photo filter. And I'll move this back off the screen. Alright, so here's a back to our unsized image. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to save this for the web. So we're going to do this exact same process, and I'll go through this much quicker. Alright, so we're going to go Layer, Flatten Image, Discard. You only get that if you have a layer turned off. We're going to go to image mode 8-bit. All right. Then we're going to go to, and this is the tricky one, image size. Now, for the web, you do not use inches or resolution. You use pixels. Because on the web, everything is set to a specific pixel size. All right. Just resolution is up. It has no effect. All right. Pixel size is really a combination of width, height, in this, the way it calculates it. But since we're going to set a specific pixel size, resolution has no factor. All right. So you can get to a pixel size of something specific by using width, height, and resolution, but it's easier just to forget about that and just assume pixels is just the combination of these two. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this to what is the standard for saving for kind of social media, not web pages. Web pages need to be a number that's very specific. So that resolution is 20 by 24. I have no idea why. I forgot where I heard that, but supposedly that's the standard resolution. It's automatically going to figure out my height because I have that done. So we're going to go 20 by 24. If you need to be a specific ratio, you need to crop into a specific ratio. If you don't understand that, you'll just have to watch a video on cropping. Not sure if I have one that shows ratios or not. So now we're going to save by 20 by 24 pixels. All right, by 13 by 49. This has no effect on this number. It's going to be exactly this size. So I'm not sure if I'm going to remember this or not, so I'm just going to copy that. And then we're going to hit OK. So now you can see we have a much smaller file size. Now we're down to 7.81 megabytes. So the next thing we're going to do now is you always sharpen after you size. That's very important. Do not, sharpen on your image and then downsize it because it's not going to work correct. So I'm going to come up here, and this time I'll use unsharp mask, which is the old version of doing this. Unsharp mask, and you can see this is my setup for sort of a web. So somewhere between 25 and 35 is what I use for social media and web. So since this is a larger one, we're going to at 20 by 24, and a web image is usually half that size. We are going to use 35, so I'm going to hit OK. That's going to sharpen my image. Notice I'm at 100%. All right, and now we have a tricky thing. I'm working in the color space Adobe RGB. Color spaces are very important. When you go to the web color space is sRGB, so we need to convert that. So we're going to go to Edit, Convert to Profile. So see, you can see here it's saying, hey moron, you're in Adobe RGB or Adobe 1998, and we're going to make this go to sRGB. So you have all the choices here. Obviously I use this a lot, so sRGB is already set. I'm going to hit OK. You're not going to see anything, but it's converted that. Okay. So then the last step you can go is go ahead and save this for the web. So I'm going to hit Command-Shift-S on a Mac, Command-Shift-S, which is Save As. We're going to put that into the same file. So we have it saved here before as this Venus one. So I'm going to just take this out. And I'm going to do 20 by 24 times V, because I copied that number, which was 1349. So now I know exactly what pixel size this was saved to. Putting these numbers in is important. It's kind of a time saver. If you come back to it in a year or two and you need this specific size, you'll see it, and you can just don't even have to open it up. You'll know it's either too large or too small for what you want to do. So we're going to now switch this to JPEG. And there's other types of file formats to save for, but we're just going to deal with JPEG and TIFF since they're the two basic ones. So I'm going to hit the JPEG. JPEG is a compression. So what it's going to do, it's not going to save all the pixel information like it was before. So right here where we have this purple, it's going to find like areas of purple and only remember one of the colors. And then kind of when it opens it back up, it kind of puts the color back where it remembers it. It might not be exactly perfect. You won't get as the subtle tonal varieties in a JPEG image when it opens back up as you would in a TIFF file. But that's kind of the basic gist of what it is. If you want to read more on it, you can look it up. But it's a compression file, so it's going to save much smaller file size. You can see here's where we converted our color space to sRGB. So once again, it's saying we did that. So we're going to come up here, whoops, and hit save. So this is your highest quality. So quality 12 maximum. You can lower this. It's going to reduce your image quality when you do that. Baseline standard. I don't really use these anymore. This is kind of a older web stuff that they used to use. And then hit OK. So now we've saved that for the web. All right. So sort of a long time consuming process. Yes, I know. So now we're going to automate that. So now we're going to save this as an action so we can automate this. So we're going to come down here to actions. Actions is, up here in your window. And we're going to change from button mode. So we'll just deselect that to this. And then we're going to hit new action. I'm going to call this save for web. We'll give it a color. You can give it other information if you want. And now we're going to hit record. Now this is going to record everything that we do from now on. So we're going to go through those steps. So our very first step is layer, flatten image, we'll hit OK. Then we're going to go to image mode 8-bit. Then we're going to size our image. So we're going to go to image size. We'll make this 20 by 24. I will hit OK. Then we're going to sharpen this. So we're going to go to sharpen. We'll just use unsharp mask. So we'll use these settings here. We'll hit OK. Then we're going to go to edit, convert to profile, and this is going to convert it over to the sRGB. If you were saving it for a TIFF file or saving it to be Adobe, you don't need to do this. So we'll hit OK. And then we're going to save. I'm not going to actually put the save as command in this. So we're going to come over here. We're going to stop that. And let me bring up the history. So I'll go back up here. Let me move this back out of the way. And I'll switch this to button mode. We'll zoom down. So you can see right here we have save for web. So now this is an action. So I'm just going to click on this and you'll see it go through all the little processes and bam, it's already done. Alright, so now this image has been sized and ready to go for the web. The last step I would do would be Command Shift S or File Save As, and I would come in here and save this as a JPEG. Alright, but I'm not going to. I'm going to show you a little thing that I use a lot. So we're going to come up here and we're going to use, is it under filter? Let's see here. It's got to be under window. Oh, extensions, JPEG Mini. Sorry about that. I have a different screen that I use. So here we're going to use this thing called JPEG Mini. JPEG Mini is great for making really small file sizes and keeping the image quality as good if you were to save this as a regular high-end JPEG. Alright, this is the problem with JPEG Mini. It's like $150. It's way overpriced. I've even commented to the company that their program's way too high priced. So you're seeing here how much you're saving by exporting by using this. They used to have, and I'm assuming they still do, like a free version of this where you can do like 20 images a day for free. The trick is occasionally like B&H or places will have JPEG Mini on sale for half price. That's when you buy it because it's truthfully too expensive. So, but I'm just going to export as a JPEG Mini using this extension. So I'm going to hit JPEG Mini. And here's my size. We'll just add a 2 to it because I need something different. And I'll hit save. And this is going to be a much smaller file size than using the standard JPEG image. All right. So let's do something a little bit different here. We're going to get rid of JPEG Mini for now. We're going to bring back in time. I'm going to open up my actions and we're going to go into it. So right here, whenever you add a number in an action, you can actually have it pop up so it will change. So I'm going to select image size and arm sharp mask just to show you how this works. And then we're going to close this back up to button mode. Now watch the difference now. So when I hit save for web, notice it has a window pop up for image size. So I can, if I want 20 by 24, I can just hit OK. But it's what it's telling the action to do is, hey, when there's an input number, I want you to stop so I have the availability to input it. And what's good is when you're saving for the web, a lot of times you're using different numbers. So like, let's say I want to do 1200 this time. All right, I can just input that 1200 and I can hit OK. And then it will go to unsharp mask. And let's say I want to do 30 for this one. It allows me to input that. This is your choice. You don't have to do it. Obviously, it's quicker the other way. And it kind of depends. Are you using it for a variety of tasks or one task? If it's one task, you don't need to select this. And you can always go back in the action and turn it on and off at any one point. And then you're going to hit OK. And that finishes the action. And then I would do file save as, and I'll just do the JPEG here. So I'd save this as JPEG. I've got JPEG select here. Notice we're in sRGB. And then I would hit save. And do you want to replace this? Yes, that's fine. And hit OK. So that is how to save and size for print and the web. So hopefully this is helpful. I know it was long, but it's better to show you a whole bunch of stuff to make this as simple as possible than it is to do a quick video and just get it done, but not know enough information. So thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, follow me on social media, and watch a suggested video.